All right, what's up, my loves? I'm just checking to make sure that everything is going well with the live and you all can hear me. We're going to make this one quick. It will be a 10-minute template tutorial showing you how to use this template and switch out the images and the colors and also edit the text. All right, and without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. I don't know. GG Creations, hey there, how you doing, love? I'm trying to see if I can give a couple of little shout outs. If y'all chat there, Erica, that's my girl. All right, so for this design, we wanted to go with something a little bit softer. We have some paint splash ones, but I really wanted to go with the watercolor one just because it just adds a little bit of a different level of interest, and it's good to have things that you can switch up. So for this one, let's see, I am trying to see what images we're going to put on there. Y'all submitted some really good images on the Innate Creatives group, so I have something to choose from. And I'm going to show you how you can break this down. Just because you see a layout the way that it is does not mean that you have to exactly follow that layout. So I would like to show you how I would go about doing that too. First things first, I'm going to go to remove.bg to remove the background of my photo. And of course we can do this in Photoshop. And I would normally do it if and only if it will not save me time. And you'll see once you put an image on here and you see whether it really does you any justice, you can determine. Like this one, if I throw it in there, it's not going to identify the background, and that's fine because what I'll probably do is end up using this one as a full image and just fading off the edges. So let's drag our next one over, and this is good because I want to show you all the limitations of this remove background program. There we go. This one did well. Perfect. And that was done a lot quicker than I would have done it in Photoshop. And then this next one has multiple people. Let's see how that one cuts out. That's perfect because that's all I need right there. Good deal. So let's go ahead and download the full image of these. If you have a Remove BG account, of course you can download the higher resolution images. There's one. Let's go ahead and download two. And then of course the other one I'm going to use as a full image. Alright, back to our template. Now I do have, and these were some examples I was showing y'all yesterday. Turn those off. So within the images folder, I have pulled the text out above it. There's a logo. You can double click on that, change the logo out if you want to keep the exact placement. You can also just drag the logo in. And for this one, do I have a logo for this school? Let's see. Cornett, this is Color Guard. So let's see. I'm going to do a Color Guard version of this, and then I'm going to also show you, I think we'll do like a cheer version of this one. So let's see. I don't see the logo for this one, but let's just assume that it keeps the same logo. And Quinette, of course, I'm using your lovely subject here for the color guard, so you will get a copy of this, so you can change out that logo. For right now, I'm just going to bring in one of my photos so that I can get a gist for what color the logo needs to be. So I'm going to go to my foreground photos. So the foreground photos, if you can see, are the ones in color. The background photos, or the watermark photos, are the ones that are in black and white. And all I have to do is drag my image in. Drag it and drop it. I'm going to size it appropriately. Hit enter to lock in that size. And then I can go ahead and disable the other images. And of course you see now that we have the black and white still here. That's a whole nother folder. And let's say for the black and white image, I want to drag in, I'm going to select one of the photos that are already here and drag in my new photo. You'll see how it automatically comes in. It looks black and white. It's just a filter. And I will, of course, do my thing to eliminate the part of the graphic that I don't need. And let's see, I had one more image that was not cut out. So we'll drag that one in. And I'm going to go ahead and disable the image for the track design. And we have this one. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and combine my track images. Let's group. That one's going to be called track. And I just did Control G to group. Let me go ahead and turn this one on too. I forget about this sometimes for you all. Alright, so now my little mouse helper should be on. So it should show you where I'm clicking and what I'm typing in on the keyboard. Let's see. So far we have 1 and 2 in the background. I'm just making it bigger. And my apologies if you hear my niece and nephew trying to whisper in the background. They're trying to be inconspicuous, but they are learning and working on that. Alright, let's go ahead and do a layer mask here because we don't want this square. And I'm not going to take my time and cut around this because I actually like the, the greenery. I like the shadow that appears here and everything like that. So I'm going to use my soft brush here, which is in your general brushes. I'll right click and change my size here. So I get a pretty good size. That's good enough for me. And then I'm going to paint on the mask layer now. Now if you brought it in the way that I brought it in, it's a smart object and it won't let you paint on it anyhow. But you can see how instantly this becomes a graphic that you can play with layering. Alright, so that looks good there. Now the second image, same thing. We have the additional person at the bottom. This one will Control T to transform it. I'm going to make it larger here. And then I will use my brush. Well, first I'm going to go ahead and create a layer mask. See that white popped up, and we'll use black to conceal because white reveals. And I'm just painting along that bottom there. There we go. Now if you feel like this is a little too light, if you go to the folder for the watermark photos, I have the opacity turned down. You can turn the opacity all the way up to get just the black and white regular image. I like to turn it down because I like them to kind of look a little more watermark there. So let's go with 65% there, so I still get good visibility, but that's not my main focus. So now for this particular design, maybe I want to take my logo and I'm going to create another version of it. And I might make it bigger because I don't have a photo to fill that area. I'm just trying to show you how you don't always have to have exactly what you see on these templates. Definitely use your creativity. Or maybe I want to do a logo here, and let's find something for color guard. Usually like they use flags, right? And if you actually have photos of the flags, that would be really cool. But typically I see things like this, these little crossing flags. Just look for clip art. My goodness, I have some of this stuff so many different places. Let's do the crossing flags. There's a free one there. Let's see if it's really free. And it says it's PNG. It doesn't look like it's going to be PNG at all. But if it's not, I will show you how to use it anyway. Flag, not glags, flags, cross. Alright. Let's drag it right here. We can drag it straight from that browser into our space here, and I can definitely see that this was not the appropriate size or a PNG, but that's cool. This gives us an opportunity. If you wanted to, you can vector that if it was really important to you. I think we can work off of this as is. So let's do our magic wand here. I'm going to select the white. I'm holding down shift to select multiple areas. You can also make sure you have the add selection selected up top. And I'm going to select this outside meat too, because you never know if there's something really skinny on that edge and you can't see it. It might be of color and it makes you think that you have all the white selected, but there'll be a little border there. So now that I have all of my outside selected, I'm going to do select inverse because I want to keep the inside meat. So in this case, let's do select and mask. I'm going to make sure that my mask is clean because that was a low resolution image. I'm going to make sure my feather is down. I have smoothing on. And what smoothing does is if you don't have, I'm zooming in here. If you don't have a really clean image, which this is probably not a really clean image. If you have smoothing off and you have some really jagged edges, it will grab every last one of those jagged edges. But if you turn the smoothing on, it basically reduces the amount of nodes that you have. So every little bump is a node. So when you use smoothing, it tries to mitigate that by smoothing out and creating less nodes and guessing where that smoothing should occur. Alright, and I'm not shifting the edge anywhere. If I need to shift the edge inside or outside to accommodate for something, there's an option here. But I think this is going to work for us. And I'm going to create a layer mask. That way it gets rid of all my background, but I still kept my original just in case I ever need to do anything with it. So let's say that school logo, then we have our color guard flags here, and then maybe now at this point the text. I'm going to copy that text. And this one, let's say it goes in the center, and we'll make it bigger because we don't have those photos to accommodate. Now, you know, there's another thing that's bothering me. That foot is kind of cut up off abruptly. Let's go to the foreground photo, and we'll choose a layer mask there. Now let's go ahead and fade that off. There we go. That makes me feel better. I could have also created the edge of her shoe too, just like the first one. I could have literally photoshopped a tuck to the shoe there so it wouldn't look cut off. But this is just the quickest way to just get on about your business when you have photos. Go ahead and fade them off. Alright, so let's say we want to change the color, and I'm sure her name is not the same as before, so I'm just going to name this one. I'm going to put name. And we're going to do a variation on this one. So you have the variation where it has the stones and the gold and all of that. So this one, let's do something a little bit different. Let's still do a color overlay. I'm going to double click on my FX because I do like the little metallic look there. But I'm going to change the color to blue. And I'm picking a color off of her uniform, making sure it's not purpley. And it looks like they use silver rather than gold. So I'm going to go to my stroke and I'm going to take off the gold. And there's automatically silver hiding behind that, in case you didn't know. And then we'll put last name. And I'm going to kind of squish this in here because I want to make sure that I'm holding down shift while I'm squishing it so I can do it disproportionately if need be. And I'm going to switch it up. Instead of doing the pattern inside, let's do color overlay. I'm going to choose, that just gave it like a little bit of a gold glow to it. I'm going to do a new color overlay, and this time I'm going to make it normal. And the opacity is going to be 100%. And let's do white. Make it pop a little bit. That way I still have my strokes and everything, but the white just seems to pop. And if I like it with the stones are still there. Or I can do a color overlay and play with my blend mode. Let's do an overlay. And you can see how now my stones look white versus before they looked a little darker. So I can still get the white effect and use my stones there. Again, my stroke happens to have this gold look to it, so I'm going to do an additional stroke, and I will make this one be a color, and I'll tell it that instead of blend mode normal, I want it to take the color, and we'll make that like a gray or silver color. So now my gold is gone. These are all things that you can play with within the templates, but it gives you a good setup. So now we have our foreground images, our watermarked images. We have our logos in there. If I needed to change the color of this logo, which in this case, this isn't her school logo, but I'm going to pretend as if it is because I'm going to, let me go ahead and, the reason why I'm doing new smart object via copy, if you don't know about smart objects, basically if I just duplicated this the way I did before, if I edit one, it's going to edit the other. When I do new smart object via copy, now it gives me a whole nother instance of that same image that has its own very unique properties that will save as a smart object. So here I'm going to choose this purple, and I can click this finger here. It'll help me select what color is going to change. And of course I have magentas there. And let's change this to the blue. Can't remember exactly what the blue looked like, but I'm changing the hue. I can also change the saturation, and I can change the lightness here. And then also the yellows. Let me grab those yellows, and I'm going to turn the saturation all the way down because that yellow is not going to look great if I turn the saturation all the way to -100. I'm going to save that. And it's not quite my right blue. Now here's what you can do. You can go back to that smart object and do that, or you can go ahead and do a layer, new adjustment layer, hue saturation, what we just did in that smart object. You could do the same thing on this level. And I'm going to use the previous layer to create a clipping mask because I don't want this color adjustment to apply to anything except for this logo. So here, let's go. We know it was, oh, it's going to be different now because it probably will select blues because now it is a blue. Now what I can do with my blue is I can change my hue, I can change my saturation, and I can change my lightness or my darkness. And I'm just manually playing with this by eye. So feel free to play with this as much as you need. I'm going to show you another thing you can do if you need to change the color or something. That right now this is only about 2 colors anyway. The gray doesn't really count. So I'm going to turn that off. Of course I just found a blue that I'm happy with. But let me show you another alternative. For instance, I'm even going to turn this one off. I'm going to let it be purple. We'll say yes. I'm going to save that. It'll update. Smart objects. That's what smart objects do. So let's say I wanted to do a color overlay for that layer. We'll do layer, new fill layer. I'm going to do a solid color, and I'll choose blue from the uniform, right? Got it. One of those blues works. Cool. I'll say okay. And then what I can do is I can play with the blend mode here and see if that does what I need it to do. And more than likely it'll be something like, instead of going through all of these, let me choose color. So you see how color just colored that in right now? But it also colored in the CT here. But if I was really trying to look for a quick way to get that blue, that is exactly what I would do. And then you can always color the CT separately by doing a mask to the blue. So I'll select the C and the T from the image and watch this. On my layer mask for the blue, I'm just going to paint over it. Of course it was yellow there before. So now I get my original color. And now I can do a new, let's do a layer, new adjustment layer. We'll do a new fill layer. We'll do a solid color. And this time let's choose the gray. And because I had my selection already there, it automatically created that layer mask. So that's another way. That was two different ways to do it. Alright, so we got logo. I'll probably change these flags. Let's do a color overlay over this one. Maybe even a gradient overlay, but we'll see. So let's do the blend mode normal for right now so we can really see what we're working with. And yeah, let's do a gradient. Y'all know I'm obsessed with gradients. Let's do a normal gradient. And I'll just choose any two colors. And in this case, I may keep the white. Let's see. But I'm going to reverse it because I want the blue up top. And then maybe I'll add a drop shadow just to make it kind of pop out a little bit. There we go. And then I can add a drop shadow to the logo if I want to by just selecting the image, go to my effects, go to drop shadow, and usually the last drop shadow that I use will pop up. That looks cool. So the only thing we have left to do is to change the colors of the background. Now I did make this, it looks very, very intricate, and it somewhat is, but I made it easily editable. So what you have to do is you just have to keep in mind that I broke this down, I think, into 3 different colors. So let's choose color number 1. Anytime you see color 1, it could be the color 1 on the top. And what I'm going to do so that I don't mess up my purple, I'm going to call this one, we'll call this one purple gold. Now I would not do this too often because you duplicating these groups, if you had one for every single color combination, could get really, really crazy. And if you see, when I duplicated that group, it made it more opaque. So it laid that color on top of that same color. So you might want that effect. And if so, you just duplicate the group, you'll have that effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this one gold and silver. Or gold and gray, because it's not really going to be silver. Or I could call it gold and silver and show you how to pull in a glitter swatch and apply it. I did not intend on doing that today for you guys. So anyhow, we'll do that on here. So let's find color number 1, any of your color 1s, and then turn it off and on so you can see which one it is. So the way this is set up, you have a standard color like your main color, you have a neutral or your secondary color, and then I have a darker version of your main color. So if you see the purple, the main purple is there, then I have a darker purple, and then I have, for my neutrals, I chose to use the gold for the other design because the school was purple and gold. So if you don't know what the color is, you can turn it off and on and say, okay, that's the darker color is number 3, the basic color is color number 1, and color number 2 is either my secondary color, like if you're doing contrast colors like orange and blue, that would be your secondary color, or it can be a neutral color, which makes it look a lot more tolerable when you have colors that may not mix. So for color 1, let's go ahead and do it. We're definitely going to be choosing a blue. Double click on the FX. We will go to our color overlay, and instead of that purple, we're going to come over here and grab us a blue. You see that? And it applied just perfectly. So now we'll copy this layer style, and anywhere that I see color 1, including what I just selected, I'm going to look for the title color 1, and I'm going to hold down Control and select anywhere I see color 1. So right now I only have 2 color 1s. I'm going to right click and paste the layer style. So everywhere that I had color 1 has automatically propagated, and it now has this nice blue color. So for color 2, like I said, that's your contrast color, or it's also your neutral color. If you only have one color to go with, make this one a gray or a black or a white, and you cannot go wrong. Okay, so let's go ahead, color 2, and let's do the gray. So we'll double click on this FX here. I'm going to go to my color overlay, and I can choose a gray. I can choose that gray from right there, or I can choose a little bit darker gray so that I can kind of really see it. And depending on what it's touching, you may or may not see the effects of it right now. Right now it's touching the blue, and you saw the blue get a little gray behind it. I'm going to say OK here. I'm going to copy this layer style, and anywhere that I see color 2, I'm going to hold down Control and select my color 2 options or layers. So you see I have a lot more color 2s. You don't notice them because they're more neutral and they're kind of offset on the sides. So did I select all color 2s? Yes. Now I can right click and paste the layer style, and now you see that all the color 2s have turned from that light gold color to the gray color. Alright, next is color 3. Now color 3 is that same color blue, but it's usually darker. So, or whatever your first color is, it's usually a darker version of it. So what I like to do is go ahead and preview where one is that I can really see. I can see this one on top of here a little bit more, but the one on top is a little bit lighter than the one that overlaps. So I like to go off of the one up top if I really want to see a difference. So let's double click on the effects there, and as far as the color overlay, right now it's got to really see how dark that purple is, and it's barely even showing here. That's basically the saturation and intensity of that color that I need to use for blue. So let's grab the regular blue first. We'll grab it from the star again, and you can see it looks exactly the same as the previous blue we selected. And then I'm going to go down so that I choose the darker version of it, and then if I wanted a little bit more, little less saturation, I would gray it out and I could go towards the left. But I just want it a little bit darker right now, so I'm just dragging it down a little bit. I'll say OK, and you'll see there's a little bit of difference there. It won't be as apparent as the second one, so we'll say OK to that one, and if we need to change it, we absolutely can. Let's go to any other occurrence of color 3. Color 3, color 3, color 3 in the middle you can barely see because the opacity is so low. But that's all the color 3. Again, right click on one of them and paste the layer style. Uh-oh, I forgot to copy the layer style from the color 3. So we got to copy the layer style first, of course, then select all of our color 3s and paste the layer style. And now you see that nice deep tone of blue that overlaps there and gives it a little bit of visual interest. And that's it. That is it. There's something I said I was going to do. Let me see if I can even find it. I have a glitter on here somewhere. A glitter swatch. And if I can't find it, I'll just find one real quick. Let me see, I think this is a glitter, but I need to find it where it is a PNG or a JPEG. It'll probably be a JPEG. Alright, so I'm bringing in a nice kind of neutral grayish glitter, and I'm going to show you how you can use that instead of a color overlay. You can actually use the patterns instead. Now in this case, I'm going to pre-select, let's see, what was it, color 2? I'm alt clicking and dragging this so that I can kind of get a little bit smaller glitter. I don't want huge glitter. And if I were really doing this, taking my time, I would actually fade off the edges of these so that it looks very more believable and more consistent with how it flows into the glitter, because you see the shadows and the highlights kind of a little more intense than I would like. But let's just say this is what we have. I'm going to merge those layers just so I show you. And you can get these glitters from just about anywhere. Let's do this. Color 2 is what I want to play with, and I should have a color 2 at the bottom. So I'm going to drag this above my color 2 at the bottom, and I'm going to right click and create a clipping mask. Now what I have to do for this color in order to see that pattern that I just put on there is I have to go to my blending options. I have to turn this second one off and turn the first one on. And now you see, instead of a color, I get a glitter, and that's so cool. Now I'm going to show you, I might as well go ahead and do it here, because if I give you this, you're probably going to want to use this. So let me do it right. I'll bring over my glitter. You won't have to do this because it's already going to be done for you. Bring my glitter over. I'm going to bring it to the top while I'm editing it so I can see what's going on with it. And I'm going to show you what I was saying, what I would do. I could rasterize this now. Let's go ahead and rasterize the layer. And I'm going to take my edge there, do a clipping mask for this layer, and layer mask will reveal all. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush and just slide it down these edges. And what that's going to do for me is when I duplicate this layer and drag it, you see how I don't get like the harsh lines? And I can also rotate this so I get a little variation there. So we'll go with that, and I might take these two now. Same thing, and this time I will Control T, and let's flip this one vertical, and then I get that continuation of that dark to light. So I do that a lot of times for patterns and things that basically I want to make it look continuous, but maybe the original image that I have is not a long image. So in that case, I'm going to go ahead and take all of that, merge it, and then I will also make this a black and white so that you can tint it whatever color you want. So let's go up to layer, new adjustment layer. I'm going to make it black and white. And then I'm going to go ahead and merge that down. So you can click on it, right click, merge it down. So I'm showing you extra stuff now. So technically your 10-minute template time is up. But every time I get on here, I try to show y'all something a little bit different and something new. Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom layer, right click, and create a clipping mask. Like I said, for color 2. We'll click on the effects here and make sure that for the blending options, you have first one on, second one off, and now my glitter's in there. Isn't that cool? And you don't have to put glitter everywhere your color 2 is, but you certainly can. And if you're gonna go with glitter, why not go all the way out? I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm going to do it everywhere. So for color 2, let's do it. Alt. I'm going to drag this everywhere that I see color 2. Now what's going to happen is you're going to create a clipping mask and you're going to be like, why don't I see it? Two things. One is that for that color 2, if it doesn't already have it, which when you receive this file it will, because I'm doing it right now, you want to turn on the top and turn off the second option. Then you have to make sure that wherever your color splash is, that you actually have the image there. So see how I'm dragging the image there? And this one is a very faint light image. So if you wanted to increase that opacity there, you would have to duplicate this layer. And then it becomes a little more, apparent there. Alright, so that's that one. But I'm going to take it off. I'm going to keep it all light. If y'all want to duplicate and create a heavier color, definitely do that. I just don't want to confuse you when you open this file to where you feel like you have to do that. So let's see, another place I see color 2. Alt click and drag here. And this is fitting. She has sequins on already, so I think this is definitely fitting. Let's go ahead and create a clipping mask. And let's move, oh, I forgot, effects. Let's do blending options. Turn that one off, that one on. And let's see where that one's appearing. Oh yeah, that looks so hot. Okay, so let's make sure that we're covering everything. And if we're not, I can tell by going to Control T where I am. And maybe for this one, we need to increase the size or even rotate it, because if it's a tall versus a wide paint splash, then we'll need to adjust accordingly. But there we go. And so this one is probably the one that I will use for the color 2 on the left. Alt click, drag it above, right click, create a clipping mask, and let's do the same thing with the blending mode here. So the blending options, and you see how it has this very, oops, I'm supposed to be moving the clipped image. See how it has that stark straight line right there? I definitely need to change that. So I'm adjusting it so that it fits exactly where I don't see anything clipped off. And that's it. And let's say, for instance, you wanted to do this to the blue layer, which let's say we wanted to do it to color 3. I'll click and drag it to color 3. And let me show you how you can use the colors with the black and white glitter. So what did I have? Color 3, middle. Let's go ahead, right click, create a clipping mask. And same thing here, double click on the effects, blending options, and change that up. Sorry, I just had to take a quick break. Have our color overlay on, blending options. I made sure I took that down. Let's say okay. And the color 3 in the middle. Oh no, color 3 in the middle is the really faint one. I want to do color 3, probably the bottom one. So I'll right click, create a clipping mask, go to my effects, blending option, take that one off, turn that one on. And I see it there. So it's basically taking up where I had my darker color. So what I want to do is I can color over this glitter by doing a layer, new fill layer. I'm going to do a solid color. And let's do a dark blue. So right now I'm going to choose the blue, do what I did before, choose a darker blue from that blue, say OK. And I want to play with the blend mode now, because I want it to apply to the glitter that's underneath. So normally you'll use something like overlay. I can't tell you which one it's going to be because it depends on the glitter levels that are underneath it. So overlay is definitely working for that. More than likely that's what I would stick with. So let's go back to overlay. And like I said, if I wanted this to look much more intense, then I would take this group and then I would apply it again. So I could take that same group, duplicate those layers, and now you see it's much more intense. But like I said, I'm not going to do that in here for you all because I don't want you to have too many layers to worry about. So that's it. If I want to keep the color, I have the option to keep the color. If I want to add the glitter, glitter's there. And maybe for this template, because the glitter is looking so cool, I'll keep the glitter in here for you. So you have the glitter on your accent colors, but the main big color, you can put the glitter on that too. But I think it looks nicer as the true watercolor, kind of watercolor on paper look. Even for the blue, I think I like it more with the darker color there. So I would either duplicate this group, make it a little bit darker with the glitter, or just leave it as is and let it be the darker color there. Alright, but I'm going to leave that on so that you see what the color glitter looks like. Alright, so now we have the glitter layers, we have watercolor, we have our watermarked images, and I'm going to check on you guys to see if we have any questions now. Hey Tracy says thanks for being my link to society. Gotcha. It's social. We're having social time right now. So this is our cooperative social distancing, but still having some social time. Awesome. I'm glad you learned some new things. Let's see. Any questions anyone has like with this template before I go ahead and add my little final touches and make this available on the website? All right, so I'm going to make this one available. I'm doing a cheer template. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make this one a cheer one, just real quick while I got y'all here. Might as well switch it out. So now that we have this all together, so we'll call that, and I called it gold and silver, but it should be blue and silver. I'm gonna make one more colorway change. And this should show you exactly what you would have to do. And see how when you duplicate this group, it just creates a much more intense color. So you definitely have that option. And then for images, let's bring that in. So I'm doing this one for my girl Erica. She has been so supportive in everything that I've been doing. So she submitted a photo, and I figured I would surprise her and do that one live. So she'll have that in the template. So let me just find that real quick. And this will be a little bit different because I think this one only has a single image. So now I'm going to show you how you can take that multi-image design and switch it up for single image. So this one is Erica's. Where is it? I just saw it. This one. Now I already pulled this one into Remove BG, and I'm going to show you some issues that I had. Of course, Remove BG is powerful, but it has some limitations. So it included an image from a lion that was in the background of the photo. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those images off real quick. And this one, this color is like a black and silver. Yeah, I think this one's black and silver. So I'm going to go in and, or is that navy blue? Erica, you tell me. I'm going to look at real quick and see if you. You're welcome, Erica. Yes, if y'all are in the Innate Creatives group, you know how invested Erica is. So we're going to show her some love today. Erica, is that black or is that navy blue? Navy blue. Okay, awesome. Well, here's an idea too, because I can't really tell that it's navy blue. We're going to, let's see if we can find blue in this image, and I'm going to show you how you can use a layer adjustment. So let's do a hue saturation adjustment, use the previous layer for the clipping mask, and I'm going to go and I can pick this color and it'll tell me that it has blues in it. Look at that. So if I'm not happy with the amount of blue that I'm seeing because it looks black, so maybe it doesn't match certain things, I can increase the saturation there. You see a little bit of the blue coming through. And let me increase it really high so you can tell anywhere where it's splotchy, it means it's confused. So I can add to that. And this way, I can tell what is adding like a little bit of saturation here. And I'm even lightening it up a little bit. Not really doing too much there, but it is looking a little more like navy blue than it was before. And I can turn off and turn back on to see my difference. And it might even be a little subtle difference on that end. And here is selecting reds. You see that? So even my reds, let me grab my reds and let me crank them all the way up and see what's going on. Yeah, so it's not really reading a lot of blue from this image, and that's fine. Let me go back another step. Here we go. So I just just created a little bit more of saturation on the blue layers here, because I don't want to really mess with the reds too much, because the reds are definitely going to be in our skin tone. All right, and of course we have some words right here on the image. We can do a couple of things here. I'm going to double click, get into just my image because this is a smart object the way I dragged it in, and I'm going to use my pen tool because you know how I feel about cutting out our images. We want to do so in a way that looks very organic and natural. So I am creating curves here by clicking and dragging. We get that lion out of the way first. And if a lion is her mascot, then of course we can pull a lion into this image, and that's what we're going to use as the watermarked image. So you'll get a chance to see that variation too. Let's go ahead and make a selection out of that. We're going to feather it 2 pixels, and we could just straight up hit delete. Y'all know I don't usually do that. And here's the reason why. See, my feathering was more intense than the previous feathering. So I'm going to undo, go back another time. I'm going to do a selection, and this time my feather radius, I'm going to choose 0. Because maybe I don't need any feathering for that to work. Okay, that worked out a little bit better. It matches the previous cutout that Remove BG did. Alright, some other things here. I have these words down there that I don't want. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm not going to paint directly on the layer. I'm going to hold down Alt. Well, I have my brush selected. If I hold down Alt, it becomes a color picker. And let me reduce the size of this brush. And I'm just going to paint right on top of that. And because we already have words going over here, I'm not even going to be concerned with it being a solid color where you can't really see the folds in the fabric there. I'm not going to be concerned about that. Now, if you wanted to, you can create a clipping mask so that clips, so you don't see it hanging off the side there. And I do see that I'm going to have a little bit of issue with this ball right here, but I can select the orange and I can color right there. And of course I didn't get as clean as I wanted to get, so let me select my blue again. And it may not be necessary at all to really get this right, because when I close out of here and I say yes, oh, of course, it was a PNG before, so if I want this to update the previous image there, then I have to merge it down, or I can save this as a different type of file. I can save it as a PSB and bring it back in, but I'm just going to merge it down. I'm pretty confident we'll make that work, even though that orange is going over the words of the ball a little bit. So yep, I'm going to save that. Updates there. That's cool, because guess what we're going to do? Fade that off anyway. And I just wanted to color over it just in case there would be any text there. So definitely let's go ahead and make your layer mask for that smart object. And we'll do layer mask, reveal all, or if your program will allow you, you can click on this one down here. I just for some reason can't do it, because once I start recording, some of my features don't work on my Photoshop, so I have to do the workarounds, the long work, which is good because this also teaches you how to get to the tools if you don't see them like I see them. Alright, so let's increase the size of that brush down there, and I'm just going to fade that off. And see how it's not even that noticeable what was going on with the basketball now? And of course, when I put the name over it, now it looks much more blended. Alright, so we also have a mascot of a lion. Let's find us a lion. And maybe, I don't know if we want to find a roaring lion, kind of a calm lion. I don't want to take a Lion King image. Let's go to tool, size, large. Definitely want to look for a large image. And like this one, well, that's Lion King. Let's go, if I want to look up settings and do advanced search. If you're looking for something that's free to use, let's go to the usage rights here. Free to use or share even commercially. There you go. Ooh, that one looks cool. Let's go to open image in a new tab. And I'm going to save it. We'll pull that in and see how that goes. I haven't planned this out, so I'm doing this live. That one looks pretty cool too, but I don't like how the lion's kind of... I think that is maybe even the same image. Let's open a new tab. Let's grab that one. And if you ever download these WebP ones, if you need to, you can open them up, open with, right click, open with Paint, and file save as, JPEG, and it works. That's a little tip trick there for you. There are also some websites that will convert it for you too, but you don't need that. You have Paint on your computer, so you don't need to be interacting with those sites, because who knows what information they're collecting. Alright, so I'm done with that. I think I'm done with this whole open tab here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm on my watermark group for my image. So this one, this image here, should be in our regular photo group. So a foreground photo, that's where that one's going. And then we'll go ahead and group all of these from the other image. So this one's color guard. And we only have one for her, but we'll group it and we'll call that one color G-U-A-R-D. I have to make sure I spell guard right sometimes. Alright, and then these are all track images. I'm going to go ahead and group those. So y'all are going to have some good source images on this one. Shift, I'm selecting all of these, grouping them, and we'll call this one track. And then this one will be cheer. We'll make sure that one is in our foreground photos folder. So we have that as a foreground. The background, we said we were going to do the lion. So I'm going to go to my watermarked photos, which are here. So for the last design, we didn't use, no, we did use watermark photos. So we're going to continue that theme. Let's turn that off. Let's drag in our lion. I meant to drag it onto, don't drag it into the layers like I just did. Drag it onto the art space. So drag, drop. Automatically it becomes black and white. And let us go ahead and create a layer mask. So we'll go to layer, layer mask, reveal all. And let's grab our soft brush here. Increase that size a little bit. A little too much. If it increases too much, you can always type a number in there. I'm going to type in 800 right now. And I'm just going to get rid of some of that. So I didn't have to do like any kind of crazy editing there. And if you really want to turn that into a PNG, you absolutely can. I'm just using it as more of an accent element and not as my foreground image. So I'm not as concerned with whether I get a really good cutout. I just want to make sure my edges look clean. So that makes sense over there. And let's see, what else can we put over there? Now this time, let's say you didn't want the mascot to be, or not the mascot, the logo. So let's say we keep that logo. So this is going to be a logo that now we can bring into logo copy 2. I'm going to bring a copy of it. So I'm holding down Alt, I'm clicking and dragging it. I'm going to bring it into my watermark layer. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing you how you can play with these different layouts. So I'm going to take off this logo. And now I have the black and white version. Don't even have to do anything to it. And I want to make sure that all of my images, there's my lion there. It doesn't have to be within this if you're doing all over. Alright, so let's see. Sorry, I had another distraction. I'm learning. They're learning too how not to be distractions. We're trying to get this together, y'all. Pray for me. Let's see. We'll do the color change now to the background. So we have the watermarked background. Now we're going to change our watercolors. And I'm going to show you an overall thing that you can do too. So let's say you didn't want to change all of these colors individually. You can always do a layer. Do a new adjustment layer. You can do hue saturation and change the colors. Or you can do actual fill layer. So I'm going to do a solid color. I know that, yeah, so that's how it looks when you do a solid color overlay. Now that's easy if you're doing like a single color. We're going to change it to like a navy blue, like a really dark, almost blackish gray navy blue, and I'm going to get away from that purple, so I'm going to pull it more towards this blue, and we're going to get almost black with it. There we go. There we go. And then I'm just going to play with the blend mode here. So right now I'm on normal, so it just took everything and just colored it navy blue, which still looks really good. But I might do, instead of doing color, so color is going to bring back some of my little glitters there. I could also do hue. Saturation is working well for me because I did want some of that gray in there. So I'm going to do the saturation. And if I want this to look even more intense, then I can just duplicate that group. And what I'm going to do, let me merge that so y'all understand that this color overlay happened to this entire image here. And let's duplicate that layer so I can get that little bit more intense. All right, and I do see like a little bit of redness there in this middle color. Probably has something to do with the color that was selected before. Turn off my track. And I'm guessing that gray just has a little something in it that is causing an issue with my saturation. Overlay does a little something there, but it's not doing what I want it to do because it's not my colors that I want. Now what hue is doing, let's go with hue, because hue is going to give me my black and whites and it's going to give me color. However, hue is only changing the actual color. If we go back to how hue saturation works, it is hue, which is the H, the saturation, which is S, and then the last value is the lightness or the, I think they also call it the intensity, whether it's more towards the white or the black. So what I can do is change. Let's go layer, new adjustment layer. I'm going to change my hue saturation here and show you that we can do the same thing with that. So if I double click here, whatever my blues are, because basically I chose a blue as my main color, and then I chose the neutral color. So when I change my hue saturation, I'm only going to be changing the colors. So if I go here to my blues, and if I'm not sure if it's blue or cyan, I'll click here, and it tells me that it's blues. Let's say that I selected cyans, and then I go and choose from the artwork here. It should correct me if I'm picking, and it chose blues for me. So the way that I tell is I'll bring the saturation all the way up and down, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off this other one for right now because this is only applying to this image. So if I still see a little bit of blue, that means that I don't have everything selected. So now I have everything selected. I can increase my saturation. I can decrease the lightness so that I get more of that navy color. And that's probably our best way of doing this right now. So that's pretty simple right there. And that's kind of like your one step to doing this. And if I want this to be more intense, then I'll take these two and I will merge them. Oops, I did not mean to merge visible. That's going to take forever. It's going to merge everything. Sorry guys, I did not mean to merge visible. I just wanted to merge these two layers here. So we'll undo that. And I need to make it visible so that I can take these two layers, hold down my shift, right click, and it's not allowing me to merge those two layers. Let me go ahead and release that clipping mask and see if that'll do it for me. Yep, that's what it was. The clipping mask was on one of them. And now I can make the clipping mask go to that merge layer. All right. Oh, I did also want to show you that you have on top of that the watercolor colors, which now, of course, I didn't show you that. There's a couple of there's a light spot and a dark spot and a color spot. So that color spot, you can change the color of that. And you would use your color 3, whatever you had color 3 here. So I copy that layer style and paste it here. And then for my light spots, I usually just keep it white. So for this one, I'm going to delete this layer because it didn't have my little splashes right there. We're still another color. All right, and I'll just leave that on. So that hue saturation will change based on what you have underneath there. So the reason why this one hue saturation layer didn't change this purple or changed it very minimally is because it's only changing the blues in the image. So this hue saturation is definitely a tool where you can learn how to manipulate your colors. I know y'all ask me about that all the time, and that's what you do. So Erica, this one's for you, babe. We would end up taking this one off. Take off the color guard flags, the name here. We'll double click on those effects and we'll choose a navy blue. So we'll do a color overlay. And I'm just going to choose a second color. And let's go with that navy blue right there. And the silver's already in there good. We're good to go. So that is it. Let me see if y'all have any questions. All right. Navy blue, gray, and white. Good job. So we did that. Erica, what you think? Yes. She says, I love it. Thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome. And thank you. We appreciate you. All right. So, oh, another thing is, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this little edge of the picture there. Y'all know how I do. Let's go to the photo. Do Control T. Right there a little bit. You can't really see it, but that wrist is cut off by the photo. So we can either make it look like it's curved and it will be a little obvious, or we can go to our layer mask. I'm going to choose a little bit smaller brush here, and I'm just going to fade it off a little bit. So that at least it's not as noticeable. And if I wanted to fade it off even more, I increase my size. Now I can come from outside and just gradually take that off. There we go. Alright, love, so that ended up being an extended version of the 10-minute tease because I wanted to give you all some good tips. But now this template is even more intense now. I'm excited about it. I think you all should be excited too because we put some glitter in there. We did a variation where we showed you 5 images. And then this one, the second one, we only had 3 images. This one we only had 1 image, but we found a way to watermark the logo and a mascot. So those 3 different variations will be in here, and you'll have a chance to play with it the exact same way that I played with it on this video today. So let me know if you all have any other questions, need any other tips, and I will go ahead and get this one uploaded today. Okay, I think my niece might want to say something because she's miming to me over here. What's up, Emma?
So when you fade off the wrist, that makes no sense because you should fade off the other wrist so it's the same and even.
Well, the thing is, I have a full image here. Anything that I have a full image of, I keep. If I have something that's cut off and it looks weird because it's cut off,
like you said before when I was standing there silent, you could make the wrist, the other half of the wrist, or you can just fade it off.
Right. So if I wanted to create a wrist, then that would mean that's a lot more Photoshopping skill time.
I have a better idea. Why don't we let the viewers decide?
Well, we can definitely do that. Also, the viewers will probably decide on whatever is best for their level of Photoshopping right now. So if I take off this layer mask, if I disable it, and I see her wrist there, some people may not feel comfortable making a wrist. So I will show you if we had to do that. I would pretty much make the shape of the hand that's missing. I'm going to create a new shape underneath here. So we'll create that as a shape. And right now it's clipped inside of that image. I'm going to bring it below it. So now I see the shape. Now this gets pretty difficult, and it probably won't be able to be done in this time, because what we're doing is literally recreating a hand and a sleeve here. Yeah, so yeah, but I will show you how to do it since you brought it up. Alright, so here is, I just created a new little layer here.
Wait a minute, that is uneven because some is popping off.
That's what we're about to fix. So now it's time to learn and listen. Okay? Alright, so let's do a paintbrush here. I'm going to grab the color from the sleeve, and I'm painting on top of this. And what I want to do, I'm going to deselect right now, is clip this to my new shape. So I'm going to create a clipping mask. Bam, it's on there. I could also do the same thing for the skin color. Now, skin color is not flat. You have tones in here. And this is why I do not create, like I could have created the bottom of the shoe on the other one. Probably would have been a lot easier than creating a piece of a hand.
But you also said you don't like when it ends up on the first, shirt. In the last video.
Yeah, anything important. Like this isn't that important though. You don't want important things getting cut off. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting a different color here. I'm alt clicking and selecting variations. And right now it's clipping inside of the shape that I created. I could also do a layer on top now because I basically want to fade this in and do a new layer. I'm going to fade this in from the top. And let's do a little bit less opacity. And this is much easier to do with something other than a mouse.
Like a tablet or a phone?
Right. And so here I have a very crude version of a remade hand. I probably add a little shadow underneath this one. New layer. And hold on. I'll go ahead and add a little darkness underneath that sleeve so that it doesn't look like it's just straight on top of there. And now as far as the shape goes, I still have my fade off here. Now I would have to add back some of this image here. So we'll go to our paintbrush. And now we're going to choose white instead of black, and I would add back. Let me go ahead and change the opacity to 100. Add that back onto there. So then that way it's at least overlapping without being just a clean cut off there. And that's very quickly. This type of stuff I don't usually do on the fly. I don't even do these type of things for 10-minute teas. I will usually make someone, pay extra for that, because I would spend a little time making sure it's actually anatomically correct, colors are correct, and all of that. But as far as what I believe the viewers would have chosen was to do something simple like that, which is just to fade it off.
Now get into it.
Well, we're going to get ready to wrap this one up, Emma, because we are done with this template.
But can we tell the viewers one more thing?
What would you like to tell the viewers, Emma?
We might do a video with Levi and me on Wednesday.
Possibly. If y'all get yourselves together and quit interrupting my videos.
Sorry.
Yes, they want to do a kids version. So
Yeah.
we will see how entertaining and educational that would be. Alright guys, so I am going to log off with all the
Distractions.
first of all, take your distractions, which are your chips, away from my video. Thank you. Lord help us all. I appreciate you all. I love you all. If you don't have any more suggestions or questions here, then I will go ahead and get this one posted for you. And I will be doing some Watch Me Work today. I have some templates to convert over to Affinity. So all the Affinity users and even the Photoshop users are welcome to watch me on that. I'll have that going live today and possibly some other projects. Alright guys, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Emma, would you like to say goodbye to the viewers?
Bye.
Alright, loves. Well, Levi, hurry up. Come on and say goodbye to the viewers.
Bye.
Goodbye, guys. Oh, we'll check you soon.
And also, a couple months later was my birthday.